Welcome back, travelers. When I'm not thinking about Divinity, I'm thinking about Exodus, and we have some Exodus news to go over today. We have a brand new gameplay trailer, an updated Exodus website, a release time frame, and also some new interview information. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the recent trailer. So, as always, chapter markers below. Let's do it. And yes, this is the new trailer playing in the background, but first let's talk about release date. Well, actually, we don't have a date, so to say, but the release time frame is now set at early 2027. I was definitely in the camp of thinking this would be a 2026 game, but that is no longer the case. This could have something to do with GTA, but I'm not entirely sure. But as far as the in-depth lore series that I said I was going to do, I do still plan on doing this, but I might pace it out a little bit or wait until later in 2026 to get that started, as we are still quite a long time away from 2027. This gentleman right here is the player character June Aslan, of which we do know at the very least that we can choose to be male or female, and that there will be some other customization options, but to what extent we don't exactly know yet. June is a character that has a pre-established backstory and background, in some ways similar to how Commander Shepard is in Mass Effect. But with that said, this game is all about choice consequence, so we should still be able to RP our character hopefully a good amount. Trailer starts off showcasing June, the player character, sorry for the voice change, I just woke up, struggling a bit in life, salvaging scraps just to get by, getting shoved around by a mech, not exactly living the dream, so to say. And that is until a mysterious celestial ship seemingly comes crashing down near June, and out walks a character by the name of Emrys. And Emrys is a very interesting character, as he is what the lore calls a Deva Celestial. And Devas tend to be these very rare, mysterious, wandering creatures filled with great knowledge and wisdom. And while the celestial species as a whole, you could say, looks down on humans or straight up despises or wants to kill them, Devas are much more unknown in their intentions, and they're known to be friendlier to humans. Emrys tells June to fulfill the purpose for which you were crafted, as June is the child of Orion, former ruler of Lydon, June's home planet, and legendary traveler, of course. And June's mother is a celestial. I'm assuming a crown celestial, but I'm not entirely sure. So June has noble blood in a way, but also has some of what I'm assuming are inherited celestial powers, such as neural induction, which allows one to neurologically, psychologically, it's hard to explain, connect to not only other creatures that have neural induction capabilities, such as changelings, awakened animals, uranic humans, and of course celestials, but a creature that has neural induction can also connect to celestial technology such as ships, allowing one to control a ship with their mind, essentially. Throughout the trailer, we see June using his celestial powers. He obtains a very powerful gauntlet. He's manipulating livestone, which is when you see him creating that bridge in the environment. He also manipulates livestone to lift him up in the air, and you even see him using, I'm assuming this is livestone, in combat when he smashes his gauntlet on the ground and you see stone burst up, kind of like an AoE type attack or a line attack in a way. You see him utilizing his recycler weapon, which is like a Swiss army knife of weapons when it comes to combat and utility purposes alike. You can do all sorts of cool stuff, and as you play the game, you're going to find cool remnant technology that you will be able to manipulate with your celestial powers. Now, the trailer does touch on how the planet of Lydon is currently dying as it's infected by something called the Rot, which ultimately is destroying the technology of the world that keeps the planet of Lydon habitable. And June takes on this mission to save the planet alongside several companions, and we do get to see many of them in the trailer. And the mission here is to head out into the galaxy in search of ancient remnant technology that may be able to save the planet from the Rot, ultimately saving humans with celestial technology. Don't forget, though, that June's half-brother is currently the ruler of Lydon and doesn't seem to be doing a good job, likely a tyrannical type ruler, and he also probably wants June dead, considering that June has been in hiding since being a child, and June is a threat to his rule. The trailer does give us some snippets of what appear to be June and companions traveling to faraway locations, and to do so, they have to use the gates of heaven, which allow near light speed travel. And in these mysterious locations, June searches for remnant technology to save the planet of Lydon, but of course encounters a ton of resistance, such as these creatures, which are called ghosts. Are not really creatures, though. They are constructs that have some sort of AI, but they're not full AI and they're not sentient. And these creatures were designed by ancient celestials to guard this remnant technology. And most of this technology June is searching for is on long abandoned planets that were destroyed from ancient celestial wars. So these ghosts are actually sleeping for thousands and thousands of years until a human stumbles in and tries to take some of the technology, then they wake up. We even see June fighting an awakened bear at the end of the trailer. And of course, we can't leave out time dilation, which isn't shown in the trailer, I don't think, but it is referenced because anytime the devs talk about real important decisions or consequences, they're mostly referring to you traveling at near light speed and making that decision to travel to a certain location that's really far away. And when you travel at near light speed, time dilation occurs. So you might be gone for a couple days or maybe even a week or two traveling to some faraway planet to find technology. But when you come back to Leiden, months may have passed or possibly even years. And the game is supposed to revolve around this concept. It's going to be a very big part of what we experience, or so they say. Now, there's actually a lot of little details that I could notice in the trailer as I've been studying a lot of Exodus lore, but I'm going to save that for a future video as this is more of like a news video. But up next in the news, I want to talk about the Exodus website. Specifically, if we go to who you'll meet, you will notice that the website has been updated and companions are now split into combat companions and story companions. So obviously all the combat companions, I'm assuming, are also story companions, but the story companions likely can't be taken into combat, or perhaps they can, but they're not going to be part of your party of 3. Not entirely sure. Right here we have Tom Vargas, a character that we've known from the start. The reveal trailer is all about Tom Vargas. Elise is another revealed companion, and we have backstories for both of these characters a little bit. Elise has been in multiple trailers as well. She is a mech pilot. But what's really cool here is now we finally see Salt the octopus. The octopus's name is Salt, and this is an awakened octopus. So octopi are already very smart animals, so imagine if you genetically engineered them to have enhanced intelligence. It only makes sense that an octopus would be able to operate a mech and also speak in some way, maybe through technology in this game, though. It might not just be the octopus speaking. I'm sure it probably will be. Not 100% sure, though, but I am very excited for Salt the octopus because I will be running with Salt. The other companions, I don't know. They look all right. I'm not too excited for any of them like I am for some other games with their companions, but Salt the octopus will be my companion, my boy. And we do get to see Salt in the gameplay trailer. Then we have Phaedra here, who you do see in the recent gameplay trailer, and we did see her in another trailer as well. We don't know much about Phaedra yet, though. Solomon is in the gameplay trailer that we just watched. When the companions gather around that table, you can see Solomon. And then down here for story companions, CC Orlev now has a slot, and this is the character that is voiced by Matthew McConaughey, and we don't really know too much about this character. There's a lot of interesting theories out there, but it says everyone knows the myths around Orlev, but no one knows where he vanished or why. He appears when June needs him most, yet his motives remain a mystery. So many theories. I could probably do a video in the future, but for now we have at least a picture reveal here and a little bit more information. He's playing like a banjo or something, which is pretty interesting. Then we finally get to see Emrys as an official companion on the website. Before it was just a silhouette. Emrys is the one that I talked about, who is a Deva Celestial. Very cool character. I'm going to be engaging with Emrys quite a lot. And then we have a bunch of silhouettes here, 4 of them, and it does look like we do see the silhouette of this character when the companions are meeting around the table in the gameplay trailer, in the recent gameplay trailer. Maybe we also see this character too, and I'm not sure who this character is, but my favorite here is the silhouette of the wolf, and in the gameplay trailer you do see June with an awakened black wolf a few times. This is so cool. The only thing I'm bummed out about is that, unfortunately, I want to take the wolf into combat. Why do I got to take... I want to take the wolf into combat with me, but it appears to be a story companion and not an actual combat companion. So I don't know how well the whole combat versus story companion thing is going to work, but we'll have to wait and see. Next, we have an interview by IGN at the Game Awards. So this is recent, and then I'm going to talk about my opinions on the trailer. But I just wanted to highlight a few quick things here. So in this article, it says, over the course of their journey, June will first see the results of their choices shaped by interstellar time dilation, forcing them to directly confront the positive and negative consequences in the ever-changing galaxy. So once again, touching on the importance of choice consequence through time dilation, traveling at near light speed. They really touch on this interview about, you know, the stakes that are driving Exodus's main story, which is all dealing with that time dilation and player choice revolving around time dilation. Another thing I want to touch on is that it says Exodus leans into player choice, and this also includes option for players to customize June's appearance and gender to fit their type of story. Now, we already know you can play as a male or female June, but the devs are touching once again on customizing appearance. I'm led to believe that it's not going to be like a full character customization process, but the devs keep talking about it, so there must be more than I think there is going to be. Then we have a quote from Drew Karpyshyn, the lead writer at Exodus, and also a legendary writer just in general in the gaming industry and outside of the gaming industry. You begin the game as a lone scavenger, but June has a connection to a powerful traveler dynasty. They also have access to some powerful alien tech, which only they can use. Over the course of the game, June reclaims their traveler heritage and becomes a champion, leader, and hero of the people. And ultimately, June is the only character able to stop the destruction of the human world. I think people are really going to see the story of June when they get a chance to play it. All right, so my thoughts on the recent gameplay trailer. Well, I was very much anticipating it, and when I saw it, I was not really that excited, but I also wasn't like, oh crap, this game is gonna suck. Still very much excited to see more on this game and for the game itself, but speaking on the trailer alone, I'm gonna say that it was decent, but it didn't really meet my expectations. I was hoping that it would look a little bit better. Now, granted, it did appear after the Divinity trailer, so a lot of us were just like, what the heck? Divinity was taking over our brains. But I did watch the Exodus trailer several times, and nothing really looked that exciting, visually speaking, but nothing looked horrible either. The gameplay, we only saw little snippets of it. I really wish we could see some actual, just pure gameplay. With that said, now we know the game's not coming out until early 2027, so they have an entire year plus to really ramp up the marketing, and I really hope that they do that. So I'm not going to criticize too much here because we still have a year plus, and we'll have to see what they do for the next gameplay reveal or whatever they do. I would encourage Archetype to think of Larian Studios here and just have somebody play the game. Let us see the game in its purest form. Let us see somebody that's passionate at your studio, maybe one of the old school BioWare devs, play this game in front of an audience and just show us why it's so good instead of doing all these crazy marketing clip type campaigns. I really think that that would go a long way if the game is actually good. But the clips of gameplay looked good to me. It looked fine, it looked fun. I want to manipulate the live stone. We just really didn't get to see it. One of the things that's been on my mind since the first cinematic reveal for this game is that the characters do look a little bit Pixar-y. Things look a little bit cartoony, but not on like the level of a game like Valguard. So with Valguard, it was like a huge turnoff for me, a very, very big turnoff for me with the textures and everything. But I'm getting a little bit of that in this game. It's just not to the point of where like I'm super angry and I'm not going to play the game because of that. But I think that Archetype should consider just working on making the characters look a little bit more real. Like the orangutan, the awakened orangutan looked incredible. The awakened bear looked pretty good, but the characters, they all just look a little bit too... Not the end of the world, and I don't think it's going to ruin the game, but I do think if they were able to improve this and make things look a little bit more maybe high texture, I don't know what the correct, make the art style for the characters a little bit more higher quality, a little bit more real, I think it would actually go a decently long way in terms of attracting some more people into the game. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's fine, but I wish it was better. It would help a lot with immersion, in my opinion. Make things feel a little bit more serious in a very serious world. Another thing I'm thinking about too is I don't see a ton of interest in this game at the moment. We're still far out, so I don't think this is a huge problem yet, but I'm very invested into the lore of Exodus. I've read this encyclopedia, The Traveler's Handbook. I read Peter F. Hamilton's book, and I think this is some of the best world building and lore out there. So I am coming from the perspective of someone who is very much loving the world of Exodus, not necessarily the game yet, but I want to play the game because I need to know what happens with the Elohim. Can we get more information on them? I need to see some of these places. I want to see some of the remnant technology. So not even from a gameplay standpoint, I just want to be in this world because I love the world building so much. How many other players are going to be coming from that perspective? So hopefully they can, you know, continue to drop some interesting stuff and get some more people, general people, interested in the game. But I will be doing that lore series to hopefully invest a lot of you guys into the world lore as well, because I'm telling you, it is really, really good. And Drew Karpyshyn is the lead writer for the game itself, and he's really good at writing too. So the trailer to me was decent to good. I'm still very much excited to see what's going to happen, and I'm also still excited to play, but I don't know if it's enough right now to really get a ton of people excited. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way, hopefully they can just keep improving things as 2026 goes on, and I'll be here to inform you on a bunch of that and give you guys my opinions. All right, I'll catch you on the next one.